My name is Juliane Höbarth and I lead the product security team at Kapsch TrafficCom, and we are happy customers of Security Compass using SD Elements. I would like to share with you the situation at Kapsch prior we purchased SD Elements. So we are a provider of critical infrastructure globally, and our highest concern is delivering secure solutions to our customers. We have therefore implemented a security framework covering the whole product development lifecycle based on industry's best practices. We therefore have evaluated several standards such as ISO 27002, IEC 62443, NIST 853, and of course also GDPR, legislation of the European Union. Based on that, we have derived a security requirements repository in Jira, and selecting always for each and every product in our portfolio the most suitable and applicable security requirements. And we added those then to the product backlog. We measured the progress of the implementation using Jira queries and Confluence reporting possibilities. As you can imagine, to maintain these many standards manually, this is a huge effort. So we were mainly looking for a way to make that selection of requirements of these standards more effective and faster. And we also were looking for to broaden our set of standards without losing capacity in our team. So we were looking around and we were glad to find SD Elements, which helps us to do this selection process of requirements, as well as keeping the requirements up to date much more efficiently as we can ever do that in a manual way. With SD Elements now in place, we can use the free capacity for other topics like penetration testing, threat analysis, or just helping our colleagues much better to work on the resolution of security-related issues or the implementation of the security requirements. If we wouldn't have purchased SD Elements, we would still use a third of our capacity, of our team's capacity, to maintain the repository, to search through the standards. We would also only have the chance to cover 4 standards in total, because it's really time-consuming to go through hundreds of pages over and over again, and to keep also that self-made repository in Jira always up to date. It's also nice that we can get with SD Elements the chance to really check for standard compliance out of the box without the manual effort of checking with the real standard document if each and every single applicable requirement is fulfilled by a specific product or not. So regarding compliance reports, they're really helpful, because if we get a customer demand for, oh, please show us compliance to a specific standard, we can just get it out of the box. We do not need to sit and do it manually. We can have the report as it is from the tool. This is really helpful. What is our experience after 1 year using SD Elements? We have integrated the tool in our tool landscape. We have onboarded all our intended products. So each and every product we intended has now a security requirement set of SD Elements in their product backlog. And many of them already started to implement those requirements, despite the fact that they do not even have them so long in their product backlog. Some of them even finished some of the top priorities, so they are eager to increase their bar of security. Outlook to our year 2 of using SD Elements is to just onboard more of our portfolio, in the best case even all of it, and of course strive to even further implement more and more and more priorities of those security requirements we already have in the product backlogs. So it's really to increase the implementation degree of the requirements, which is our goal for the year 2. What I can recommend to every future user of SD Elements, please do your homework before you get started. So there is amazing training material, and you get really a good introduction of how you can use the product in the best and efficient way. But you really need to go through the material provided by Security Compass. Else it might be a little bit overwhelming to use the tool just out of the box. But it's really worth the investment to spend on the trainings. So I have been talking primarily about introducing ST elements to our product portfolio. But honestly, we also used it for improving our already existing process landscape. We have learned a lot of aspects and topics and requirements from various standards, which are really helpful to improve and continually improving our overall development processes, our secure development processes, even our product management process. There's a wide range of how these requirements from those various industries' best practices can support your process management, your process definition, and your process improvement in your company. When comparing the situation prior using ST elements and after, I think the main difference is that actually the similarity is we're still doing the same. We're just doing it better. We're doing it more efficient, and we're doing it in a reproducible way. It's ensured by the tool that it is always in the same procedure, independently who are the actors. How were we able to introduce ST elements to our colleagues in development and our product management? Well, actually, we are in a very fortunate situation that we are highly sponsored and supported by our CTO. And also, my colleagues are doing penetration tests on the products on a regular basis. So it's part of our product lifecycle that they have to have regular penetration tests. And due to the findings my colleagues always have, we have a really strong argument towards the development teams and also the product management that they should not only wait until we find their problems in the penetration test, but already they should take care about it in the early beginning of the development process when requirements are selected. So that is just to give them the advantage to increase security already by design and by default, and not to wait until we find it prior product release. One of our product teams, they received more than 1,300 requirements at once to their product backlog, only from us, from security. And obviously they were quite overwhelmed with that amount. Everybody would be. What helped us, or the both of us, so the team plus my team, was that the ST elements requirements are in specific buckets, sorted according to priority. So we agreed with the product team that they would first focus on the top priority and then walk their way through the lower priorities so that they can increase the bar of security step by step and with each product release. In addition, another case, we had colleagues which were just not certain how they should implement specific security requirements, and they just didn't know what to do. So I think that's also quite a normal behavior. Then if you have a new tool introduced, you work with new requirements you're not familiar, the colleagues, they need support. So what I can recommend is to take those colleagues by the hand, ask them how you can help them, find a solution for them, or give them some alternatives how they can implement a specific requirement so that they don't get lost. Maybe that's even an advantage of ST elements, because my colleagues can now much more invest their capacity on helping the development teams to implement security requirements, as before, when they had to read the standards and elicit the content from the standards to requirements. So I think that's a better investment of their time. When thinking of the future of our secure portfolio in the critical infrastructure, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. We need to constantly raise the bar of security. We need to constantly innovate and improve our practices, because attackers are not sleeping. They're getting better all the time. And only if we try hard, do our best, be as efficient as possible, we can compete in that race. Expect from ST Elements in the future is that it further contributes to our security foundation and that it helps us to have consistency in our operation and still enables us to have this freedom and free capacity to innovate on further security protection mechanisms for our portfolio.